Hi guys, welcome back to Hairdryer Treatment with Soph and Meg as well. Obviously, Soph and Meg show is back. A lot of things to be talking about right now for United fans. A very solemn, negative mood and atmosphere around the club at the minute, but hopefully me and Meg can brighten your evenings with a good old chat about football and all the things surrounding United at the minute. Meg, firstly, how are you?
All good. This is like the third or fourth time we've really tried to do this evening. We've had every single problem under the sun at the moment. But yeah, I'm all good. Slightly bewildered as to why it's taken us 11 minutes to solve all our problems. I'm good. I'm glad it's tonight we're doing the show, not last night. Because I think last night the pair of us you just got us shouting and ranting on and on and on. And we've had no chance for anyone to have a conversation with us. But yeah, all good. I've collected my thoughts today. I've gathered them all in. I've processed them. So we'll see if I can stop ranting.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, I wasn't shocked by the performance yesterday. However, the nature of it got me. I think it's Burnley. We're at home. We haven't lost to them in however long. We could close the gap on top four again.
Last night really was was the turning point for a majority of fans. It was the first time that I've seen a lot of people come out and say enough is enough. Things need to change from the management point of view. For me, like you and I both said in the past, Ollie in, we've supported him, we've backed him. A lot of people have said Ollie out for a long period of time, and we haven't. Last night was probably one of the first times I've thought his time is coming close. Like, if he's not going to be backed, then I don't see the point of us continuing the whole management and the club together, because what's the point in not backing him? And I know they've come out and said, oh, we've backed him in terms of we're supporting him, but that doesn't match up to what you're doing in the transfer market. If you're not backing him, and when he's saying we need players, then don't come out and say we support him, because you're not, you aren't. You're just kind of showing it really, like, to the press, but you're not actually doing anything about it. It's just words.
Yeah, I think. So I've never fallen on sat here and said, I'm Ollie out. However, I've always said I can see why people get frustrated. I can see why people are questioning him. And last night for me was a big example of that. Regardless of signings and transfer windows and backing from the board, that's the team that we put out yesterday should not be losing at home to Burnley, regardless. And for me, that comes down to the tactics, and it comes down to not having that. Not going to say plan B, but we know that teams are going to sit in against us because we simply cannot break them down. And I think yesterday was another example of that. I do also think that, as I always say, the players need to take a rap for it as well. For example, we missed some decent chances in the first half yesterday. We created absolutely nothing in the second half. Again, you have to question, Ollie at half-time should have roasted them players and said, you know what, we need to go out there and we need to make the blocks. That didn't happen. However, at the same time, we all know that the problem runs a lot further than Ollie as well, and a lot deeper. But last night, I think, really did show that he is vulnerable and he struggles to have a plan B when we come against a team like Burnley who's sitting. Meg, how are you feeling regarding the whole Ollie situation? Does he deserve more time, or do you think that's it now?
It's tricky, because I do feel like that if he, like I said, the club aren't backing him behind the scenes. They're just coming out and saying we're supporting him. So for me, if you're not going to back him, finish it and just cut your losses and move on. But what's going to happen if we're going to have another roundabout of managers again, and we're back to square one? And a lot of people are saying he's got no clue. Last night, I did think, everyone has a plan A. This is how we're going to play. This is our style. This is our formation. We have got injuries, so adapt it. But we haven't got a plan B. But we can't even do plan A well. So it's like you've got no other choice than to do this plan A. But the players on the pitch last night did not perform. And it's okay to say sack the manager. You can't say sack the players. But we haven't got anyone else. We have not got a choice of players at the moment.
Yeah.
He can't come out and say he was rubbish, and he was rubbish, because we haven't got anyone to replace him. So I think, for me, if you're not going to back him, and it doesn't look like, after today's news, that he's being backed, that players are going to come in, then find a manager that you will back behind the scenes as well as to the press.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going through the chat now. Alex says, changing the manager will not change anything, as more experienced and successful managers like Van Gaal and Mourinho were not backed. Meg, do you think we made a massive mistake in sacking? I read a tweet earlier and it was comparing whether we were wrong to sack Jose or we were even wrong to sack Van Gaal. Do you think we were right to sack those managers at the points that we did, or do you think we should have given them more time? Van Gaal in particular, because obviously we just won the FA Cup and then he got sacked literally the day after. What's your opinion on that?
I think Man United were really unprofessional in the sacking of Van Gaal. However, when Fergie left, I was sat at home going, I hope we get Mourinho. Right? And that was my first choice. We ended up with bloody David Moyes, right? So then David Moyes left, I was thinking, I hope we get Mourinho again. We got Van Gaal, and then we got Mourinho, and I was absolutely buzzing. Like, he is undoubtedly a fantastic manager. You can say what you want about him. He is a great manager. And he's got that kind of flair about him, that kind of... He's got attitude, hasn't he, as well?
Yep.
I don't think if we were going to back anyone, we should have backed Mourinho. We should have given him what he wanted in the transfer market, and we should have let him have the players he wanted to build a squad, to build a Manchester United team. We didn't back him.
I agree with that. I think that the style of the play that we had as well back then wasn't the most exciting. But it's intriguing. I agree with what you're saying. If we just get Ollie and get another manager in, but we're just continuing that process where it's almost like we're firefighting but never actually resolving the problem. And we all know that problem is far beyond the manager. However, like I say, Burnley at home with a team that we had yesterday shouldn't be an issue. So for me, that comes down to tactics, and that comes down to the lack of tactical, I would say genius, but intelligence from Ollie, really. He hasn't got a plan B, and like I've already tweeted before, I doubt we've even got a plan A. It seems like he's just telling the players to go out and enjoy themselves. And us fans, I mean, yesterday we saw fans leaving at 85 minutes, Meg. Do you think that sends a big message to the board, or do fans need to boycott altogether, or was that a strong point yesterday?
I think it's a massive strong point. I think we all know that the Glazers are money-led, finance-led, and I think if you start seeing fans turn against a manager or against the team, they will do things to keep fans on board, because fans are ultimately the customers of football. If we're not there, they don't get money. And so I think it makes such a huge difference when you start seeing fans leaving. You've seen it with Arsenal. Arsenal have been a great showcase of this, that their fans have led a revolt against the manager and have got changes from it. It's not nice to see. I was watching it last night, and the amount of, and this was at the start of the game, the amount of empty seats that I saw. Then at the end of the game, the minimal amount of people there.
Yeah, yesterday I was like, it's becoming more and more toxic, and people are getting more and more frustrated, and I think it's only going to get to a point where we're going to share our opinion as fans. Apparently the club want to meet with the fans on deadline day, which I think is interesting as well. Why have they chosen deadline?
Of course they'd choose deadline day. Of course they would. They can't. It'd be too late to do anything then.
Yeah, I agree. In terms of transfers, Bru'NO, title of the video, it's looking more and more unlikely now that Bru'NO Ferndandes is coming to United. We were so confident it was going to happen. Apparently we're not going to match the price. I mean, I'm frustrated by it. We all know that we need to get quality players in. United are just being stingy by the sounds of it and don't want to pay that extra money. Apparently one of the Glazers came and spoke today and said that they don't believe that he's worth that much money, and that the structure wasn't ideal. Ironic that a Glazer would say that, but the structure isn't ideal in part of the deal. And it's just disappointing, really, and I'm hoping that they're all false rumours. Of course I am. But it is looking more and more unlikely about Bru'NO coming to United, Meg.
This is shocking, by the way. Like, absolutely shocking of Manchester United. If they want 60 million, give them 60 million. Look at the situation that we are in. We need players. We cannot rely on homegrown talent. We just can't. You can't keep relying on teenagers coming into the squad and doing a job for us. We need to invest in experienced players who will come in and make a difference. If they want 60, 70 million, give them it. Make sure we get the signing done. It's absolutely shocking if we've wasted all this time. We've turned down, well, we probably haven't turned down, but we've had opportunities to look at other players and bring in other players. We're not doing it.
Yeah.
We need players. I don't understand. Are they watching the same thing as we are?
Well, they've got to be watching it. But I think the whole Bru'NO situation, I remember saying it on last week's show where I said, I hope we're not putting all our eggs into one basket, focusing solely on the Bru'NO deal for it to then break down, like most of us predicted, that we never fully trusted the board. So then we're kind of stuck in, well, now what do we do? And it seems like such a brainless way to look at it. We should have already had targets before the transfer window even started. We should already know. The team should already know this, that what they're looking for, what kind of player that we need, what we're missing out on. Everyone knew that we had a weak squad going into the season. Everyone knew that Ollie would need to make more signings in January, and then obviously it lasted that long than it did the summer. And it just seems to me like it's showing that lack of a footballing brain behind it. They've got a business brain. We always say about Ed Woodward, he's got that marketing and he's good at that side of things and the sponsors. But when it comes to footballing brains and the signings and the recruitment and the players that we've been recruiting of late, it's shocking. It really is shocking. And I'm not saying us fans are geniuses. Of course we're not. But it's not exactly like the club are investing in other ways in the squad, is it?
Like you look at that squad last night. They said it was 600 million or something.
Yeah.
And yet we are relying on. We're all shouting for Greenwood to come on the pitch. We haven't spent a penny on Greenwood. He's come through the academy. We're all shouting about Williams being chosen over Shaw. He's come through the academy. These are players. We're desperate for Rashford to come back. Come through the academy. The money that we've spent isn't even being well spent. We're not even getting what we want for the money. Harry Maguire, let's face it, is bang average at best right now. Okay, so
yeah,
and he's one of our top signings that we spent money on. What he hasn't produced, which is fair enough. Sometimes players have seasons where they lack that form, but he has been bang average. We've got no one to put in his place.
Yeah,
we've got no one to put in his place. But you look at that midfield and you look at the attack that we've got and the opportunities that we're creating. Terrible. We need someone to come in, and let's face it, Maddison and Grealish is going to be more expensive than Ferndandes. So if we're not buying Ferndandes, we're not buying Maddison and we're not buying Grealish. Because if you don't want to spend that amount of money on Ferndandes, why would you spend more money on two other players?
Yes.
And they're English. This whole thing about buying English players, great if they're English. It's like a little bonus. We've got another England player. Doesn't rely on what the factors that we should be looking at players. Isn't the fact that he's English. We need to be just looking everywhere. Other clubs look everywhere. Why are we so set on English players?
Yeah, I mean, I just read in the comments the fact that they're saying that they don't think that is worth that much or they don't agree with the price could show that actually we haven't got the money in the pot. We brag about it. Ed Woodward says we can do things that other clubs should only dream of. My question is, if there is no money, then where has it gone? Where has that money gone? And there's a lot of talk about the Glazers and how they're obviously getting money and siphoning it from the club and not investing back into the club because it's a business at the end of the day, not a football club in their eyes. I think that shows even more, and it's a massive worry. I said that in my tweet yesterday. I wasn't even angry after the game. I certainly wasn't shocked because I expected that kind of a performance. I was just praying that I was wrong for once. No, I'm joking, I'm wrong a lot. But I was praying that it wasn't going to be what I predicted. It wasn't going to be a slow game. We were going to come out the blocks and have one of those pleasant evenings at Old Trafford. It didn't happen. And that performance yesterday was one of the lowest that I ever felt watching it because we just seemed so heartless. There's literally nothing there. It feels like the stadium is rotting around the players on the pitch. It feels like it's toxic. And I'm just worried to think how low can this club actually sink from this point now, because at the moment I can only see us going down. There's no progress. We don't seem to be moving in a positive direction. And the only way that we are going to move forward for me is if we change it from the top.
Definitely. I think no one, like a lot of times, United are being compared to Arsenal at the moment because of the fact that we were so great in years gone by. We've both fallen off this pyramid. We're down the bottom now. But with Arsenal, it's actually banter because I look at their team and their style of play. They should be a good team, but they're just shit. They've just not been playing well. So it's funny for that. It's funny to laugh at them because they should be doing well and they're not. Whereas I look at our squad and it's just like, it's disappointing because we just aren't doing. We're playing bad football. We're not playing attractive football. We're not getting points. But then I look at the squad and I think it's not exciting. Which players get you up off your feet? No one. Which player's a leader? No one. Which player would grab the... So, like, last night, at 1-0 down at half-time, I'd have expected for them to go in the change room and someone to come out and think, I'm going to get this game by the scruff of the neck, I'm going to sort out our problems. No one. And it's just like, what nobody expects anything anymore, because it's just that kind of season that we're having. We're in that age of Man United where we're just like, no, what's the point?
It's a proper weird season when you look at the league, though, isn't it? Turbo Warrior 343 has sent a super chat. Thank you so much, Turbo Warrior. Appreciate that. Said it hurts me to say Ollie needs to do the right thing and resign. It just happened for him. The money has really wasted on consistent players. Yeah, and this is a big thing on Twitter at the minute. Actually, a lot of people are saying Ole Gunnar Solskjær is not a club legend, or he's no longer a club legend because of the way that it's going at the minute at the club. For me, that's a load of crap. He is a legend. He's a club legend. Obviously, he's done a lot for the club, scored a lot of important goals, one in particular, yes. And he loves Manchester United. I think there's no doubt deep down Ollie wants the best for the club. He's just incapable of doing that. I genuinely believe that. And so to say he's not a club legend, I think that's shameful and that's horrible. Meg, what is your opinion on it?
I think that's a load of bollocks, mate. I'm not being... As a player, he will always have legend status. Don't get me wrong. As a player, he will always have it. You cannot deny that of the man. You know, what he did for United, especially in that 99 season, he will go down as a legend. If you're going to talk about him as a manager, then yeah, probably not going to be a legend of Manchester United, is he, at the rate that he's going? So you can't compare it, I don't think. Like, as a whole, he will always have a player status as a legend because of what he's done. So yeah. I just think that's low. And so let's keep talking about Ali for a second, because after the game, did you watch his press reaction?
Yeah.
I saw a tweet, and it was like, oh, he's laughing again. The man literally smirked and rolled his eyes because he got asked a question about the board backing him. He knows he's not being backed. You can't stand there and start... I felt he literally, for a 5-minute press conversation, he literally was just like, I've had this question again. And it was like a smirk and an eye roll, and someone on Twitter literally slated him for it. I felt really sorry for him. It wasn't the greatest press interview, but like I said before, he can't come out and criticise all the players, because they'll be sat in the change room, right, confidence low as anything. Then if your manager then comes out and says you're all crap, you're bloody useless, he's got no choice but to pick these players for the next game.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, when they're down.
Yeah. Alex sent in a super chat. Alex, thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. It says, a manager is only as good as his squad. Through poor decision making by our board, Ollie had no squad depth to call upon, unlike Man City and Liverpool. The depth of our squad, we've already acknowledged, is absolutely shocking. Luke Shaw was brought on yesterday to change the game for us. He did actually score a goal. Obviously, it's disallowed, but he did score a goal. But yeah, Luke Shaw was the sub that we brought on, and we've got Paul Gomes sitting there. Meg, I'm going to ask you about Gomes, because I saw your tweets. You were raging last night about Gomes. What is it? Why is Gomes not getting game time?
Not a happy bunny about it. Let me tell you, the disrespect to this guy is unbelievable. We are crying out for a number 10. He's sat on the bench. And sometimes he doesn't even get to sit on the bench. He's sat at home watching the game. Why? There must be something that, as a fan, we don't know about. Something's going on in training. I don't know what it is. I just don't get it. He must have sat on that bench last night and seen Shaw and Lingard go on and just be like, why? What am I doing here? What am I doing here? If it was me, I'd handed the transfer notice in. I'd have been like, I'm out, I'm done. And we've said it, put him out on loan. If you're not going to use him, put him out on loan. Let's see it. Let's see him in action. It baffles me. I'm baffled.
Yeah, I think baffled is a good word. I think most United fans at the minute are baffled, to be honest. I think Ollie's baffled, to be fair. But yeah, it's frustrating. Gomes, though, I was wondering when obviously he played a few minutes against City and that, I was thinking, is he playing because Ollie wants him to play? Is he playing because he's leaving and just to prove that actually he's fit, he's not injured, he's looking sharp? And I think I don't want to see Gomes leave. I've already said I think he's very talented. However, maybe didn't come on yesterday because Burnley are a physical team and Gomes is literally tiny. If we've seen him in real life, he is absolutely tiny. I don't know what the situation was, but for me, we needed creativity. We were lacking that massively. Luke Shaw is not the guy to bring on in that situation. But again, for me, there's many people to blame for yesterday. The players have to take a big rap for it because regardless of what team you put out, really, we should be beating Burnley, and that's where tactically you're looking at Ollie and saying what went wrong. Steve Hatt says with this side we would. But we should have won last night. Yeah, exactly. With the team that we should have won last night. The team was just not up for it. So disappointed. And it's that lack of bottle. I think whenever we get a chance to close the gap on top four, our players seem to absolutely shit themselves. I don't know what it is. And that's why I've always said that I think there's a mentality issue with the core group of players who have failed several managers before. We've mentioned that already. Something's not right there. You keep getting chances to close the top four and we keep bottling it, and we're not the only ones doing that, by the way. That's why I said it's a weird season. You forget, obviously, Chelsea, Spurs, a lot of teams are underperforming this season. That's why a lot of people think that it's a bit dodgy with the way that Liverpool have won the league because of the nature of everyone else slipping up. It's an interesting conspiracy, but I do think that we are so far off the top. If you look at Liverpool and then look at us, that gap is getting bigger and bigger. And at this moment in time, I can't see it getting any smaller. I really can't, Meg.
No, I mean, are we mathematically we can't win the league now?
Mate, that was never possible anyway.
But it's the end of
Don't
January.
cling on to that.
It's the end of January, and we cannot possibly, even if they lose all their games and we win all of ours miraculously, and it's we're not even at the end of January. Still 4 months of the league left. Like, that's crazy. That is mad. We should have, on paper, which is not great to say, we should have won. And just like, it's just terrible from top to bottom. It's terrible.
Rotten to the core. Turbo Warrior, again with a super chat, thank you so much. He says that he agrees with both of us on Ole. He'll always be a club legend to me, and those who say anything otherwise and can F off, quite frankly, he's a legend, end of. I agree, he is a legend. I think it's disrespectful to say he isn't. I see some comparisons on Twitter comparing Ollie to some people that you don't want to be compared to, and I don't agree with that because for me he's still a club legend. Yes, he's failed as a manager at United so far because it looks like he's going to be back and give him more time. I hope it turns out that he hasn't failed, of course. But at this moment in time, it's looking like he is a failure as a manager, but that does not discredit his playing career at all. No doubt he loves United, it just isn't working out for him. Nick says, Ollie isn't the main issue, but is an issue. Glazers are the main issue, unfortunately. You can't sack poor ownership. The Glazers, no doubt, take the brunt of it for me, definitely. William Smith says, Man United fans are delusional. They want Glazers to spend more money. The irony is Man United's squad is 100 million more than Liverpool, and Man United has the biggest wage bill. Ollie is shit. Yes, William, I agree with that, but that's why we're saying from the top to the bottom. That includes all of our recruitment. We're spending this kind of money, but are we spending it on the right players? We spent 80 million on Maguire, and at this moment in time, I've seen milk turn faster. So you have to question that. You have to question where is the money going? Is it going on the right people? And that's where, for me, it's all about the marketing. There's not a footballing brain in there. There's no footballing brains going on in the background, Meg.
Honestly, I think sometimes you can read my mind. I was literally scrolling to find that comment that William Smith had put. Once you set a standard of wages, that's what happens with your club. That's it then. You can't start lowering them because people expect to be given that wage before they've even played in a Manchester United shirt. And that's one of our problems, that we, like the Sanchez contract that he ended up on, £300,000 a week, was not worth £300,000 a week. But if you've given it to one person, someone else will be wanting it as well. Isn't there something like Scott McTominay's on minimal amount?
Yeah.
He's one of our best players. Well, was obviously injured, but it's not. We're just not structurally great. We're just not. That's what I mean. Like, you can't start, but you can't start again. And we need to start. We do need to start again. It'd be great if we could just click our fingers and say everyone's got to start afresh, but that doesn't happen.
End career, new career mode. It's like, do like FIFA, but end the career, do a new career mode, start a clean slate, get new players in. Sell Phil Jones, do that way.
Well, Big Z, if we signed Bru'NO and Dybala in the summer, we could have been top 4 plus less injuries. Ollie's been thrown under the bus. Only 3 players in was a joke. We could have had Haaland in January to, where's it gone? Glazers out.
Yeah, it's interesting. It really is, and it's gutting, to be honest with you, because, like I say, there has been investment, but we've been investing, for me, on the wrong types of players. There's not a clear plan, there's not a clear style of player that we've been trying to get. If you look at the likes of Leicester, I've mentioned it before, Wolves have got a profile of player, and their recruitment is so much better than ours. So much better than ours right now. Martial, Meg. See, a lot of debates on Martial. I've already said I don't think he's consistent enough. I think he flits in and out of games. Too much for my liking. I don't think he's reliable going forwards because he doesn't make any runs into the channels. However, when he's on his day, I do think he's very talented. I do rate him. But I've always said if we get a proper number 9, I can't see Martial being our sole striker permanently. And people got on my back about that. But for me, again, yesterday he missed chances. And I just think there's a lack of movement. I know he's got that arrogant style about him. I know that's his personality, and I understand that. And like I say, he is talented, and on his day he can be a world beater. But we've said this about other players as well. We don't see that day enough. We don't see the players on their day enough, and you have to appreciate there's a lack of service. But at the same time, especially against teams like Burnley and that, the movement going forward is shocking. We just stood in the line a lot of the time, which is what slows us down so much. We don't have movement. When Rashford is there, we really struggle with movement going forwards. What's your opinion, Meg, on Martial? How would you summarise him, looking at yesterday's performance as well?
It's hard. Remember the start of last season? He was on fire for up until Christmas and dropped off.
Yeah.
And then this season, he's just not had that kind of consistency. But Rashford has been the same. Let's not forget it. Rashford's been on form this season, but in previous seasons, he hasn't hit the mark for a couple of months.
Yeah.
And I think we're very quick to just forget that. We're very quick to just say, well, Rashford's amazing. He's well good. Well, he hasn't been, he has had a season where he wasn't great as well. I think it's just, we see what we see at the moment and we judge him on that amount, this time right now, which is fair enough. But you've got to look at what he's done over previous seasons as well. I just feel like it's a little bit unfair to say he's not a Manchester United player. He doesn't deserve to be a Manchester United player, because I think last season we were rating him. He was like one of our top forwards. So, and right now it's very hard. It's his inconsistency. When he's on form, he's on fire. When he's not on form, he's absolute dog shit at times.
Yeah, he's like one of these players, isn't he? He's like 0 to 100. He'll either be absolutely amazing in a game, or he'll be absolutely dreadful and almost invisible. But there's no doubt in his ability. I'm definitely not saying that. And I do think a lot of it is his personality as such. He has got that kind of arrogance about him. But I do think that he's been overhyped quite a lot. If I'm going to be honest with you, I do think he does get overhyped by a lot of fans. Like I say, on his day, he can be an absolute world beater. He is a natural finisher, but he has missed some crucial chances. Like yesterday, he missed some decent chances. But at the same time, I also look at the other side and I think he hasn't got amazing service. James can whip a good ball every now and again, definitely. But we haven't got that natural striker. Is Martial that natural striker? He isn't. We don't load the box. We don't have someone in there to aim for. A lot of the time, we've got Martial who's just lingering on the edge of the box. Like I say, his movement isn't fantastic. But he can finish. He can finish, and I'm not saying it's Martial's fault. It isn't. I think going forwards there's a lot of issues. But I was just questioning because I see opinions on him are very mixed. Some people absolutely rate him, love him, protect him at all costs, and other people literally just slag him off at the slightest thing. I think I'm in the middle of that. I'm in the middle of that judgment on Martial. I'm not sold on him completely, but I also do see the talent, definitely. Meg, then go on, Meg.
I was just going to say, Gaz Elliott, he's just put Ollie was smiling after Burnley. No, he didn't bowl in and be like, hello, I'm here for the press interview. He wasn't like that. He's come in, he literally was looking at the ground for the majority of the press interview. He laughed, he didn't laugh, he smirked when he was asked about being backed by the Glazers. And he said he answered the question, obviously trying to deflect it, and then they asked him the same question and again, and he was like, I've just answered it. He didn't bowl in like he was all guns blazing, like, hi everyone, what was a great game. He didn't come in like that. He literally looked at the ground and he smirked for about 3 seconds when he got asked a repeated question. I feel sorry for him in that press interview I did, because he knows he's constantly reminded that it's not been good enough. He's constantly reminded about the transfer or asked about the transfer window. He don't want to answer the questions because he's not being backed. And if I was in his shoes, you can't come out and slate your own bosses because you'll get sacked. Guys, I don't agree with it, I'm afraid.
Yeah, never gathered that, Meg. Never gathered you didn't agree with it. We've got 9 days left to sign 2 players. We desperately need Bru'NO and a striker. Meg, this was going to be my next question. Can you see us getting any players in before this transfer window ends? If so, what players do you think are realistic right now?
Well, they're talking about spending 30 million on that 16-year-old.
Birmingham, yeah.
Right. And then apparently him going, Bellingham?
Yeah.
Going back to Birmingham. So we won't spend 60 million on someone who will come in and, from his experience and from what we see, would make a difference in the United squad. But we're happy to spend 30 million on a 16-year-old that will then go back to Birmingham and won't be with our squad for the rest of the season. We need players, and we need players now, not in the summer. What are we going to do for the next 4 months? What's the point in spending 30 million on a player that will not be with the squad for the rest of the season? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand the logic behind spending that amount of money on someone who won't be with your squad, but not spending money on someone who will come in and, from what they play like, would make a difference to Man United. If the Bru'NO transfer doesn't go through, we've chased him for months. For numerous transfer windows, it's been rumoured that he would come to us. If anyone thinks we can pull a deal off in 9 days, then hats off to you, because I don't think we can. I do not think that in 9 days we can find a player and add them to our squad.
Yeah.
By the end of it.
I mean, this Bellingham player from Birmingham, for me, I don't have a problem with that, because he's an up-and-coming prospect. He looks very talented. But like you say, we've still got to invest in players for now. Ollie might not even be here to see that Bellingham play, or it could be years down the line before we see him actually progress and reach the potential that they're seeing in him now. I don't have a problem with us signing that kind of player, as long as we're focusing on the in and the now, because we're in an absolute dire situation right now and we need investment, and that's the only way that we're going to improve at the minute. Because if Ollie is staying, we've already seen that he struggles tactically. He hasn't really got a plan B, so we need better personnel on the pitch to try and get the job done with that plan A, because at the minute we haven't got that creative player. We're lacking a goal scorer. Injuries haven't helped us, but we knew we had a very weak squad anyway. And we've already said we can't keep putting too much pressure on our young players' shoulders. We literally cannot do that. Greenwood, I think, is a great player, but we can't expect him to lead the line for us at the age he's at. I know they say you're young enough, you're good enough and all that, but we're Man United. We're not the fortress that we once were, definitely not. But no way should we be struggling at home against Burnley, even with the players that we did have available. And that's the underlying thing for me. I think the players obviously have to take a lot of it for the mentality. Can't seem to get themselves up for games, but at the same time, the manager, tactically, you have to say, comes under question. And I think the only way I can see us improving drastically and even starting to make progress back towards the top is if we definitely, obviously, get some money in transfer and get some players in. But the top needs to change. And I think until that happens, I can't really see too much changing with regards to our position. I think we're going to remain where we are on the table for a few years unless something changes above us.
Do you know what? If you, by the end of this season, okay, let's say we do get Bru'NO in this transfer window, and you look at the progress from the end of last season to the end of this season, you would probably say, do you know what? Out of the 3 transfers that we made in the summer, Wan-Bissaka's done good. He's not.
He looks shattered now, though.
He's not set the world alight, but he's not been terrible either. Maguire should have done better, but we got that signing done and dusted. We brought him in. We know what he can be like. We know what he can do. I don't think he's produced it just yet. And then we've got Dan James, who we've said before didn't come with a price tag. We didn't expect a world-class superstar from him, but he's been all right. Then if you get Bru'NO in this transfer window, so we've done 2 defenders. We're hoping that we secured the defence up a little bit. Get Bru'NO in, secure the attack up a little bit. Over a whole season, I don't think really that is that bad. You can't bring in 10 players in a season. It doesn't work. Dynamics of a team don't work like that. You can't just bring in a whole squad of players and expect them to just gel straight away. So for me, if Bru'NO had come in, I would say actually that's not too bad of a decent window over the summer and the January.
Yeah.
Realistically, Harry Maguire and Wan-Bissaka should have secured up the defence, and you've added 2 strikers to bolster the attack. If Bru'NO doesn't go through, then it becomes bad because you've only brought in really 2 good defenders and one Dan James who we don't expect amazing things from. It's just happened that he's been all right.
Yeah, I agree, and I think the signings that Ollie has made have been positive. I completely agree with that. I think Wan-Bissaka looks absolutely dead on his feet right now. I think he looks shattered. I think players that have played well, we've overplayed them, and that's what happens when you've got a vulnerable and a very weak squad. You play players and you overplay players, they're not getting rest like they need to. Injuries then obviously crop up, and that's happened as well. And I do think that comes down to the medical team. Comes down to, again, it's everyone. From the top to the bottom, there's an issue. Literally everywhere there is an issue, and that is the horrific thing about this club at the minute. The structure, the whole of it for me needs to be wiped out and we need to start again. But how can you do that at a club like Manchester United in the Premier League? It's horrible, and I think Ollie almost got the impossible job when he was employed, to be honest with you. I understand the stick that he gets, of course I do, completely. And like I say, yesterday was a big turning point for me. But I also do feel sorry for him because I do think that he's being sold under the bus, as people say, by the board as well. We have spent money, I'm not saying that, but we spent money for me on the wrong kinds of players. And now it's coming back to bite us, definitely. Meg, as always, thank you so much for coming on the show. Pleasure. Hopefully next time will be more positive, Meg.
I mean, if you've not seen the message that I sent to Sophie yesterday on Twitter, and it basically read, Sophie said about being online at 6 o'clock, that's fine, and literally put, looking forward to talking about a happy review about beating Burnley and hoping that we're welcoming Bru'NO Ferndandes through the door. Wow, I couldn't have been more wrong with my message to you, because I literally ranted for 50 minutes, and now the Bru'NO Ferndandes deal is apparently not going through. So it has been nice talking to you. I hope next time it's on better terms. And what I will say is, those who are in the chat, I always got cussed about not having a great microphone. Now I've been out and I've updated the microphone situation. So if you're in the chat now, can you please just pop a comment in and say, yes, well done, Meg. I can actually hear you today. Because if not, I'm just wasting my money. Bye-bye.
Can we just say, Meg, we can always hear you anyway. I'm just going to add that on there. I was joking. No, thank you everyone in the chat. Appreciate it as always. I've had some super chats tonight, which is really generous, and I do appreciate your support, and so does Meg. We're still on that road to 8k, so keep sharing, keep liking, keep hitting that sub button as well if you're new. Do appreciate your support. As always, hit a like on the video, drop a comment, and me or Meg will respond to it. Definitely. I've seen a lot of people bigging up in Meg's mic. Meg's mic.
Look, here's my microphone. Like, I should have it like this, like, hello everyone.
No, you look like you should work like on a tannoy in a supermarket or something.
Like this.
Megan to the checkout, please. Megan to the checkout, please. Megan to the checkout. I was like,
Hill 4.
What is that? What is that? Nah, Meg, fair play. Well, I ain't got a mic. Love that bit of initiative. As always, a fantastic show. Thank you so much for the support. Have a good one. Liverpool against Wolves tonight, isn't it? My dad's already saying that we're going to turn them over tonight. I'm mixed on that one because Wolves are so close to us in the table, but I don't want to see Liverpool go unbeaten as well. So, yeah, Meg, what are you saying in that game? What's your prediction, Liverpool-Wolves?
I'm torn. I feel a bit like you. I'm really torn because I cannot sit here at this end of the season. Not Liverpool, not have lost. I can't sit
exactly.
Here
I can't bear that.
But I also, obviously, we need as a club don't want Wolves to win because more pressure on United and they'll be back closer to us. So
and my dad will brag.
Can we have a happy medium and just say, can you have a draw?
Yeah, deal. I'll agree with that.
Like an interesting draw because I'm going to watch it, so I want a bit of action. A red card would be lovely for some Liverpool players.
Yeah. Or a VAR goal to Wolves because Wolves haven't had one VAR decision apparently yet. My dad keeps going on about it, so yeah.
Yeah, I would have done that.
Yeah. Have a good evening, guys. Take care. Thanks again.